Now comes the fun part. You'll have the opportunity to hear the shofar being blown. I can't promise it's going to be on the first take. In fact, you may never see this particular video at all, depending on how this goes. But I want you to take a moment and hear the sound of the shofar. As you'll see in the rest of this message, there are exercises to do, to think about. But it mainly comes to this: not to think about the shofar itself as what is the meaning of the shofar, where it comes from, all of the ways in which we can think about it, and we'll talk about in a little bit. But how does it hit you? Um, is it a wake-up call, the way that we're told that the shofar is supposed to say, "Wake up, you sleepers"? Is it a clarion call that the king is approaching, that the sovereign of the universe is coming and ready to be crowned as sovereign? Is it something that goes into a deeper place that before you even hear it, um, you realize what it meant to you? The beauty of the shofar is that it is something we listen to, but it doesn't have words. Well, words can do a lot of very powerful things, but only the words that connect to us in different ways, and we have ideas, and what are they? The shofar is something that goes beyond that. Its only language is wholeness and brokenness. The tikiyah is one long blast. The shvarim, brokenness of three. The trua, the staccato. And even though we can count to 9, which is the amount that we have, it's not something to count. It's something just to feel that it doesn't all fit together. Um, One other quick thought before I blow the shofar. There's a very beautiful story told by the Baal Shem Tov, the great founder of Hasidic Judaism, a way of finding the joy. That's its origination. But it also, Hasidic Judaism and the Baal Shem Tov came from a understanding of the world through the lens of Jewish mysticism. So part of that tradition was also the idea of finding meaning in everything. And the shofar gives you a lot of opportunities. It's one long blast, 3 blasts, 9 blasts. They repeat in different ways. That must mean something, right? It's like a kind of Morse code with God. So the Baal Shem Tov understood this more than most, or anyone at the time, if you want to believe the hype. It was this great figure that had this direct connection with God. And he went to to the Baal, to Kia, the person who was going to be blowing the shofar, whose name was Zev Wolf Kitzis. And he said, before you blow the shofar this year, I want you to memorize these meanings. So every time you blow the shofar, you'll have in your head all of these meanings. And so dutifully he did, and he took them. And he couldn't keep them all straight. So he wrote them down on little pieces of paper, and he put them in his pocket, and he figured that when it came down, if he couldn't remember it, he would find the paper, and he would look, and he would quickly understand, and then he would know, what is he thinking, what is he going for. So at the time, he came up when it was time to blow the shofar, and his mind was blank. And he reached into his pocket and realized that he had never put them there. And he said, I failed. I failed to do what my master, my teacher, has told me to do. I had the opportunity, and I failed. And he went, and he just said, what can I do? I'll blow the shofar, and then I'll face the music. I'll face my teacher, and he'll know that I just didn't know. So he put the shofar to his lips. And he went on with all of the rest of the shofar sounds. And Wolf Kitzis, kind of collapsed out of his feeling of having let down the world, because he knew that these were secret codes with God, and what could be more important. And he went to the Baal Shem Tov and he said, Master, you know that I failed you. The Baal Shem Tov looked at him and said, to the kingdoms of heaven, there are many doors and many locks. And I gave you the keys. And they said, oh, I know. He said, no, listen. But when the keys don't work, the one thing that will knock down the doors is an axe. And your shofar blowing with all of your heart of wanting to be there and do this and connect and bring home the meaning that the shofar could be, that was the axe. I gave you the keys to most of the doors, but your axe knocked them all down. And your shofar blowing had all of the power it possibly could be. So, with that story in mind, the words are there, but they don't cover everything. I will blow for you the shofar, hopefully, the different sounds, and then look at the exercises and see where we go from here. Tekiah. Shvarim. Trua. Tekiah Gedola. We'll now turn to our exercises and see if we can take a wordless sound and find some words, but also some things that can't be put into words.